the chief guest and my long time and good friend, Dr. John Fatiaki, Mr. Victor Fatiaki, Chairman of the Fiji Rotuma Association, chiefs of the 7 districts of Rotuma, the chairman of the Council of Rotuma, Judge Manab, Honorable Minister for Employment and Industrial Relations, Agni Dev Singh, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament and Assistant Minister, Honorable Lenora Geregere Tambua, members of the Rotuma Council, respected members of the Rotuman community, members of the diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen, elders, and next generation of Rotuman leaders and Rotuman young people. Noia Maori, Bulabinaka, Namaste. I am deeply honored and extremely happy to be here today and share in your joy and celebration of Rotuma Day with such an inspirational theme of celebrating our cultural heritage. I think we can all agree that after 24th December 2022, as a people, we now feel free to immerse ourselves with pride in our cultural heritage and practices, without feeling like we are committing a crime. And certainly, after just celebrated Gurmit commemoration and celebration last week, as children of Gurmit, our euphoria and assurance in ourselves and in Fiji, as well as in our story, is such a great feeling. To have the head of government, the Honorable Prime Minister Sitiveni Rambuka, the Vanua of Nodo, the Maramambale Narokotu Indraketi, and religious leaders affirming us the way they did as a matter of priority certainly speaks of long-held aspirational vision of inclusivity and multiculturalism being realized. Such occasions like today afford us all a profound feeling of respect and dignity towards our fellow men and women. But ultimately, it starts when we take our place of pride as upstanding citizens and communities, and we know and own our cultural legacies and keep passing them down to our next generation. I can assure you today, respected leaders and next generation leaders of Rotuman descent, that our coalition government is firm in its intention to embrace diversity. Diversity in a multiracial, multicultural, multireligious nation is an important aspect of mutual coexistence. I want to acknowledge on this day the many giants of Rotuma who have helped build Fiji up. Notable amongst them was Mr. Paul Manueli, the first local and indigenous commander of the then Royal Fiji Military Forces from 1974 to 1979. A business executive as head of BP of British Petroleum, a former finance minister and justice minister, in the SBT government of Prime Minister Sitiveni Rambuka and the Rotuman member of the Great Council of Chiefs. There is former Chief Justice Daniel Fatiaki, who has not only served Fiji with distinction, but the region, as well as in terms of upholding the rule of law and integrity of the judiciary. Before his appointment to the judiciary, he was a highly respected officer of the Director of Public Prosecutions Office and later a private legal practitioner. We have Mrs. Marietta Ringamoto, a former assistant minister. Of course, there is George Conrote, our former president, RFMF deputy commander and chief of staff, deputy commander of UNIFIL, diplomat as High Commissioner to Australia, and a cabinet minister. Then there was a former judge, Mr. John Simisi, my dear friend, a champion of Rotuma, and a highly successful medical practitioner, and the chief guest for today, Dr. John Fatiaki. Mr. Fatiaki Misau, former chair of Electoral Commission, Mr. Walter Ringamito, former supervisor of elections, Mr. Makarau Fakatofon, who spent his life in the sugar industry and his administration. There is Dr. Robin Mitchell, a renowned sports administrator, Dr. and Professor Bilosoni Heriniko, Sapeto Taito, the star of The Land Has Eyes movie, the evergreen Dr. Tukaha Mua, Dr. Georgie Konesi, Faga Simisi, the trade unionist, Captain Kaba Conrote, respected leader of pilots in the then Air Pacific, Lynon Gibson, Terence musician Irosito, and Freddie Fesaitu. My list is certain to be limited, and I apologize for missing out others who have immensely contributed or are doing so towards our advancement. But I'm also, ladies and gentlemen, aware that we had giants as inspiring teachers and renowned cricket players such as Mr. Ismaili Conrote. Within the civil service, there are and were many trailblazers, diligently ensuring that VTK Rotuma is moving forward. In my former teaching life, I had a very good friend, mover and shaker at USP's Fiji Center, Mr. Muariro Samesoni. Riro, if you are here, Bula Binaka, bro. Above all, what fills me with great optimism and hope are the young people of Rotuma making their mark in Fiji. In May last year, I had a good fortune to meet a very humble Rotuman gentleman, his name escapes me right now, who was the acting general manager of Batukola Gold Mine. When I had visited the mines previously, I met him then also, and what stuck out for me was how he was valued and respected by the senior executives of the mining company. So I was very pleased in 2022 to see his quick rise. I also keep my eye on a young enterprising entrepreneur, Mr. Kenneth Katafono of Traceable Solutions, and the groundbreaking work he is doing with IT and apps and projects such as tracking and tracing long-line tuna fishing vessels. Ladies and gentlemen, my point here is to recognize and applaud on this Rotuma Day the very many Rotumans who were, and are central to nation building. I know those that I mentioned are but the tip of the iceberg. I want to also encourage young Rotumans to keep your eyes on your trailblazers and ensure that you participate in national political life. Fiji needs you. The more diverse the voices are at the table, the richer the solutions we can present. What we can expect from the coalition government is that we will never intrude on laws that touch Rotuman land. We remember too well the anxiety and the uncertainty at that time from the Rotuma bill. Your group rights are inalienable. They cannot and must not be snatched through force or through a draconian piece of legislation. Your coalition government will make sure all your rights and interests are safeguarded, protected, enhanced so that you can deliver a better and brighter dawn to your future generations. And I know that you are eagerly awaiting the first meeting of the Great Council of Chiefs in more than 15 years, a meeting that should result in wisdom and goodwill towards all whose motherland is Fiji. It will be a momentous occasion, and I know that a delegation on your behalf has already visited the chiefly island of Bau to offer your good wishes in the traditional manner befitting such an occasion. Next week's meeting is the beginning of a long week of commemoration of the life, works and achievements of our first statesman, Ratu Selala Sukuna. We are sure your voices will be heard by other chiefly leaders and by the both Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Minister for Itoke Affairs, both of whom will be present at those deliberations. These are the kind of gaps in nation building spanning 16 years that the coalition government is now trying to bridge together. The coalition government cannot undertake nation building on its own. It is imperative that we listen and embrace solutions, as we don't have a monopoly on good ideas. And yes, from time to time, we must accept criticism which comes as part of the turf of national leadership. I wholeheartedly and respectfully commend the Rotuman community for your superb week-long celebration to both honor Rotuma and to celebrate your traditions and your rich culture. Keep doing so. Keep your mother tongue alive. I wish our people of Rotuma very many blessings and joy on this very, very happy occasion. Feksia, Wulavinaka, and Dhanyawad.